Welcome back. The Inter-ministerial Committee on the Trucking and Logistics Industry that comprises of Ministers of Transport, Home Affairs, Labour as well as Employment, that's Minister Thulas Nxesi, has been holding a briefing in the last 24 hours where they presented an 11-point action plan that they're hoping will address some of the issues raised by local drivers who have again in recent days been blockading routes including the N3 highway between Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. The main gripe, they say, is the illegal employment of foreign nationals by the freight sector. Now, what we heard from yesterday's briefing was that there's now going to be this action plan that will be implemented and meetings held regularly to check on the progress. Among them is the issue of making sure that there's compliance with the country's immigration and employment laws when these companies recruit people who are not South African. Let's talk about where we are today. We're able to speak to someone who's an expert in the sector, Dr. Joash Mageto, who's with the University of Johannesburg. Doctor, very good afternoon to you. Grateful for your time. Let's begin with your sense on what was presented yesterday. Is it a solid enough plan, do you think, to address everything that troubles the freight sector?
Yeah, thank you very much and good afternoon. Thank you for having me this afternoon. Yeah, I can say that the 11-point plan is absolutely kind of, if it's implemented, it can be able to address everything. But then it's again all about implementation, because once there is no implementation, it's very difficult for anything to take place. But all in all, it is important that everyone in the sector is realizing the importance of road transport in the South African economy. Actually, because about 80% of all goods in South Africa are moved by road. So the moment there's a blockade, then what happens is that goods are not moving to where the demand is, and that threatens the sustainability of businesses. So the whole thing is, will it be implemented? That is the question that remains to the authorities.
And is it an implementable plan? Because it's one thing to set out a list of goals that you want to achieve and then for them to come together every month and assess where they are. But is all of it easy to implement? I mean, for example, the other outstanding issue is that of making sure that operators, there's some sort of register so that government is able to keep track of who is who in the sector.
Yeah, the issue of an operator's license is a good thing, but then when you look at the industry players, they don't want it because they feel like there'll be micromanaging of the sector. But then it's all about government coming together with all the stakeholders and picking up those points which will be easier to implement and make sure that they are very well implemented, especially the issue to do with the law, because when it comes to a point where some operators can employ foreign drivers just because maybe they can pay them less or something like that, then that is against the law and that should not happen. And this is where maybe the Labour Ministry should come and crack the whip.
But as ever in South Africa, the question is always about, do we need more law or do we need more action to implement existing regulations in the sector?
Absolutely, you put it very well. What's required now is action, because the laws, honestly speaking, the laws are there, because already there is a very clear laws from Home Affairs, there are very clear laws from the Labour Ministry, and also in the transport sector, there are clear laws. So what is required is actually how can this task force help in the implementation of the laws?
Let's talk about the cost then. We're hearing that this has been incredibly expensive for the sector, and obviously because these trucks are used to transport goods for other industries as well, there'll be a spillover effect there too. Do we know, will we ever know truly the economic cost?
Yeah, it's not very easy to quantify the economic cost of congestion, but then when congestion is so random the way it is, especially from blockades and strikes, it's even worse, because it's the issue of competitiveness of the country to its stakeholders, because you understand very well, like the N3 corridor is an international corridor, actually being used by by freight that is moved to the port of Durban and out of the port of Durban. So the moment a blockade happens, we are talking of millions of rands that are being lost due to security issues, due to lost productivity of the idle vehicles, due to increased travel time of freight from point of origin to destination. Now, all these, when they are put together, they actually increase the operational cost of enterprises.
And let's talk about those enterprises and what options are available to them as far as trying to get their goods delivered. Alternatively, it comes back to the issue of a lack of options, isn't it, in South Africa, where transport infrastructure is concerned, be it public or commercial, as we're seeing now?
Yeah, the whole thing is that actually you can talk businesses have got very little options left, because road transport is like the main mode of transport for moving freight in South Africa. So the moment there is a blockade, you are generally paralyzing enterprises, because imagine of the retail stores which are depending on goods which are moving along this corridor, they're likely to be out of stock of some goods. And this is going to affect their service delivery to customers.
Dr. Mageto, good to have your time. Thank you very much.